how you conduct yourself on and off the camera matter. The things that you say on your social platforms, as well as how you perform in your business, do make a difference. So number one, do a great job of whatever your business is. Let the work speak for itself, and then tell the story. Yes, and we're back. Welcome to the latest episode of Commerce and Chill. I am Jessica Johnson Coe.
I'm Waleed.
Hi, Waleed.
What's up, Jess?
What's good with you?
Life, just here working. It's good with you.
You more than just working.
I am. I'm tired as but that's why.
Whoa, somebody put up the expression for the F-bomb.
There you go. Beep it early in the episode. Let's go.
Beep it early and often. That's our new motto. Come to Commerce and Chill, where we'll get beeped early and often.
Right. This is not PG-13.
Hey, okay. So let's jump right into the topic today. I was recently texting with my friend Chanel Christoph Davis of Harmon and Davis LLP. Shout out to Chanel and the Follow the Leader podcast. She's doing great things out in Dallas, Texas. And she was like, girl, I see you getting all this media coverage. Like, what's good? And I'm like, ooh, we need to have a conversation, because I could teach a semi-master class on how.
Yeah. For 99 cents, sign up for her masterclass on semi-mastering media coverage, where you will get half of your face publicized on TV.
That's all right. That's more than some people get.
Yeah.
As long as it's not half of your face being led into the precinct, isn't that a good thing?
Something is better than nothing, I guess.
But one of the things I've realized, and now leading Johnson Security for a dozen years and have an opportunity to appear on different media outlets, is that when it comes to media coverage for your business, be what you want to see. So today we're going to talk about how you can successfully get media coverage for your business. So Chief, you lead our wonderful content team here between our businesses and our brands. What do you consider media?
Well, I'm still trying to figure out what the hell is going on. It's always a learning process, because things are always evolving. Mm-hmm. But, media is, it's very broad the way I look at it. It's channels or, platform. It's just channels in which you disseminate information. Mm-hmm. Like it could be so many. It's just a channel that you use. It's the high level of putting your information out to the masses. And there's so many different ways it can be done this day and age, especially, thanks to the internet.
So when it comes to media coverage for your business, when thinking specifically about the soapbox, do you consider any difference between print, broadcast, and social media coverage for your business?
You mean, is there do I see them as a difference between them?
Yes.
Yeah, it's a huge difference between them. Between you said print, social,
broadcast, and social.
And broadcast, yeah, like it's huge, because two of them I can have control over. The broadcasting, depending what you're talking about broadcasting, like on some kind of somebody else's platform, or like some kind of media or news agency, like to a certain degree I don't have control over that. But over social and print, yeah, I can create my own content and disseminate it on social or on a blog or on my website or wherever at my heart's content. Mm-hmm. So I see, there's definitely a difference between those three.
So what was your early introduction to media exposure for your business when you were starting out in real estate?
I signed up some property and some local newspapers that deal with, like, they have a real estate section, and like some real estate like blogs. Mm-hmm. They picked up on it and they wrote an article on it. And then they were just like, hey, this guy Waleed is, selling this property. this guy Waleed is leasing this property in this historic area of Bed-Stuy, et cetera, et cetera. And I was just like, oh, that's interesting. Somebody's going to do some work to help me get more eyeballs or more attention to this property that I need to lease or I need to sell. But then I realized it was beneficial to them also because they're constantly looking for stories or, content. Their business is to produce stories or to produce whatever it might be to inform or keep their audience informed. So they're constantly they're constantly on the lookout for stories and information that's going to be interesting to their user base so they could keep feeding them. That's it.
Feed them. So that's the first point that we want you to walk away with after today's episode is that these different media platforms, be they print, broadcast, or social media, they need content. And so there's so much that they can they can create on their own. Good content.
They need good content.
They need good content.
They just don't want anything.
And so
some might, but
internally, it's usually very expensive for platforms to create their own content. And so they're often looking.
You said it's expensive.
It can be, yeah.
But it's really not. I think it's.
Think about how much it costs to put on the evening news.
Wait, you said.
I said between print, broadcast, and social.
You said it could be for a business?
It could be expensive to create content.
Oh, I just talking about for a business to create their own content. Sorry.
Yeah, no.
Clearly.
If you're a media business.
Right. Well, it could be depending on your approach to how you run your media business. And thanks to the internet, I'm sure there are a lot of, and I can't speak in detail, but I've seen or, had some general conversations. I'm sure there are a few who their cost probably is very low compared to some of the other media agencies because of their model where they have people out in the field who, curate stories or they get content and then they might pay them based on per piece of content, and then they submit it and they're all digital,
right?
Versus, a Daily Challenge who prints their newspapers or a Daily News or a Post. So then it's a bigger, it's more logistics involved. We got to print it. It's more supplies. It's more materials, and it's got to get delivered to the newsstands or to the stores. People get home delivery. We got to deliver to their home. So it could and it couldn't be depending on, but it's going to cost something.
It's going to cost something. However, as a small business owner, you can control the content and can control costs and put out some good content and partner with larger media outlets, larger than you are and larger than your capacity. Because even you see it on the social front that there are people who will reach out to influencers because they want to tap in to their follower base. Or there are people who have podcasts.
Don't get beat on that.
There are people who have podcasts who will cross over and join other people's podcasts so that they can have exposure to the audience, right?
Yeah, but don't get confused on that. Just because somebody's got 15, 20, 100,000 followers, that doesn't mean, one, if they put your product out there, that all those people are going to order it or use it or what have you. Two, it doesn't mean that all 150, 10,000 or whatever those people are real. There's a lot of fake accounts on social. There's a lot of people who build up their accounts or build up multiple accounts and then will approach you through your DMs to say, hey, you want a promo? And you pay them and you get a few likes and maybe get a few followers. But how many of them are really real? So don't confuse attention with conversions. Just because you get a lot of attention doesn't actually mean it's going to always translate into dollars. But
that sounds like a t-shirt. Don't confuse attention with conversion.
It's true. I mean, listen, we've tried it. We're still trying to figure stuff out. We've got a few things on, we do, and we see that it works. It moves the needle. But at the same time, there's people who have built incomes on top of social where basically people give them money and they do it. Somebody reaches out to you and says, hey, I've got 100,000 followers across 3 different platforms or even one platform. And they're like, oh, give me $20. I'll give you a shout out in my stories or in my feed for 24 hours. and you give them $20 or $30. The next person gives them $35. And they do this over a year. Like, I mean, do the math. Like, they do that 365 days. Like, they make a good chunk of change doing that. And at the end of the day, how much did it really translate for you? And I think a lot of what that is, they're feeding on people's egos, right? Or low self-esteem, where you want to see these likes, you want to see these views. But like, that's nice and everything. I want to see someone come to the profile, click the link in the bio, and then wherever that link takes them to a landing page or to our ordering page or whatever, and then they click there and we make a sale.
Right.
And not just make a sale, that they become a client for some time so we can build a relationship with them and have an ongoing B2C relationship with them. So
when you say B2C, just in case somebody doesn't know.
Yeah, it's business to customer, or you hear B2B, business to business. So you need to understand too, which I'm sure, most of you do out in Commerce and Chill, that who's your audience. So B2B, I think, is a lot more easier than B2C. Because B2B, I'm selling to a business of these types that will use my product or service.
I'm going to say it's different.
It's easier. You know what? And we're talking about from the media aspect is what we're talking about. Because in B2B, I know who I need to target. At Johnson Security, we're selling security services. You know specifically, you can go, let's use LinkedIn, and you can say if you wanted to run some kind of paid media on LinkedIn, you could create a piece of content and then target directors of operation. Like the people who are currently our clients, I can go on my desk and pick up their business card or look through my emails from them. What's their title? Facilities manager, facilities operations, director of security. I don't know, whatever other titles. And then I can go in LinkedIn and say, look for those job titles under security or under property management, et cetera. Click, 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 click. Now serve up my content to all of them. But B2C, depending on what it is, like, okay, the soapbox is dry cleaning, sneaker cleaning, and laundry. Sneaker cleaning is, we can kind of say, target people who are sneakerheads, who like Nike or Adidas or Yeezys or whatever. So that narrows it down a little bit. Tell me who the hell you going to target to be like, not who to target, but to narrow it down on those platforms to say target people who like getting their laundry done. There is no category for that.
Mothers.
Right. But when you start clicking on the interest to run those paid media ads, it's not segmented that way. If you put laundry,
segment on mothers,
you can go to mothers, but then it's going to break down and be like new mothers, expecting mothers.
New mothers, right? They got a lot of
single,
maybe single poopy onesies.
Right, it could be, but that's not. I don't know for sure someone who's expecting or recently had using that category is going to be like, yeah, I'm interested in laundry. But if I go and drill down the interest and says sneakerhead, that's clearly someone who's interested in sneakers, whether they want to buy them, they like to consume content about them, or they want their sneakers clean.
Right.
The odds are much greater for that conversion doing that.
Got it.
Versus laundry.
So let's go back to some specifics. Can you talk about the first significant case of media coverage you got for the soapbox?
Well, media. I'm thinking. First of all, I just dropped my phone, but media is very broad, so that could be on social. It could be, on somebody else's platform.
Pick one and tell the people what happened.
The first for the soapbox would be ours. We started putting stuff on social. Like we just grabbed the phone. I don't know. However, how old you have to be to get working papers in New York City?
14.
Yeah. Well, whatever age Isaiah was, and he got his working papers after bugging me for like a year and a half, 2 years, and was like,
shout out to nephew Isaiah on the block.
He was like, I want to work. And I was like, here's your job this summer. Here's a phone. Here's a camera. Follow us around, take photos and videos, and then send them to me. True and then indeed. I would take them and post them online.
True indeed.
That was it. I was like, that was media coverage for us. And then we posted it, and people would click on it and be like, how do I make an order? And I was like, oh shit, this works. And then when it really hit me is we were laying in bed. It was like, 12:30 in the morning. and someone DM'd the soapbox, and I clicked DMs come in, I click right on them. The DM came in, and and they were like, how do I make an order? And I was like, oh, this is real. And I clicked back and was like, here's the link, go here and click. And then I went, we don't have, unfortunately, we use a third-party software, so there's no way for me to track it from social to them to see the conversion of the click. But because of social, I looked at her account and knew her name. Mm-hmm. So I went back to our ordering database and I put in her name and search. Lo and behold, she made an order the next day. And I was just like, it works. So now it's been, I guess, a forever quest of how we journey of how we evolve this thing and get it to a science, so basically where you can replicate it over and over.
What are some of the other media outlets outside of our own social media profiles that have covered the soapbox?
We've been on like other people's blogs or like websites where they were like highlighted us as like one of the top 8 laundry services to use in like NYC. We've been on other people's social profiles, whether it was paid media or was earned media, which is a huge difference between paid and earned. Trying to think what else. It was really basic for us in the beginning. It was like
you did the podcast.
Yeah, we were on their podcast. Chris and I are talking now. His family is like, I want to say second generation local publication in Brooklyn. I mean, those were early ones. Well, yours is more with JSB. You're more on the I'm more like the neighborhood news type with the soapbox or me. But you with JSB have been more on the like regional and even national news coverage. So why don't share what some of the ones that you've been exposed to or able to share your story in JSB on and like.
All right, let me preface it by saying I was in journalism school until I got kicked out. I took a couple of classes. I didn't do that well, and that's how I ended up with an engineering degree because they let me stay, but they said I couldn't act like a journalist anymore. So I have a kind of unfair advantage because I understand how journalism works, but also know that that's not enough to get media coverage.
For the record, I haven't been kicked out of any programs that I signed up for, but that's an awesome story.
Oh, it's college. That's no program. That's college.
I know, but you said the journalism program. They were like, you can't.
The journalism school.
Right, but then you have to. But you were still in school. They didn't like put you out of the school. They was like, you can't be a journalist.
They put me on academic probation and told my parents come get her. That's not good.
That's because you probably were partying too much.
No, not partying. I just wasn't doing my work. So do your work and you'll be covered by the media. I want to give you 7 quick tips how to get media coverage for your business.
From a former journalism.
From a bootleg journalism dropout. And I want to thank Mark Lindsell from the Loudspeaker podcast for sharing these tips. Number 1, build your narrative using your own media. So that's similar to what Cope talked about, how we use the Soapbox's platform to tell our narrative about the laundry, dry cleaning, and sneaker cleaning services that we offered to get increased exposure with potential customers, as well as with other businesses in the neighborhood and with a more established media brands. Number 2, identify the most relevant journalists. So whatever your trade is, if there's a trade publication, know that. If there's a certain target demographic that you service, know where those people are going for media and then follow those journalists. Number 3, set up media monitoring. So if you use Google, like most of us do, you say Google, set up Google alerts for the key journalists and media outlets that are germane to your business and to your customer base. Number 4, practice PR tactics for winning press coverage. We're fortunate because we have a professional public relations person who's been on our team. We also have a copywriter so that we're able to take advantage of some of those PR hacks. Check out.
We've got a PR person on our team?
We do.
Oh, all right.
act like you know.
I need to find them.
Number
I
5,
need to meet them. I mean,
set smart goals for the type of media coverage that you want. Make them specific, manageable, attainable, relevant, and time-based. So if you say, I want to touch 5,000 eyeballs before the end of June so that I can increase awareness about our new national sneaker cleaning initiative, then those are smart goals for media coverage that you can then follow, track, and see how well you deliver on them. Number 6, start building relationships with the press. And I'll tell you how that worked for me. And then number 7, pitch to journalists. So you talk about some of the things some of the areas where Johnson Security has been covered. When I first took over, we were featured in the Daily News because we went to an event hosted by the SBA and SCORE, which is formerly Service Corps of Retired Executives. And I got to work with a coach. So they followed me in the session where I sat with the coach and talked about how the goals that I had and the help that he gave us. We were then featured in Fortune magazine because of our affiliation with the Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Businesses program. Fortune covered the program, and they included a photo where I was sitting beside Mark Morial of the National Urban League. Hey, Mark. As well as on the other side of Mr. Warren Buffett. And that's what I call the money shot, because they didn't have to say anything about the business outside of my name and the business name being captured in the caption. And people saw it and were like, oh, wow, you're in Fortune. Phone started ringing. We're fortunate because one of our team members has very strong relationships with Black Enterprise. And so we were featured in the print magazine back in 2013. And then as a result of being featured, we were ultimately awarded the Small Family Business of the Year award in 2013 by Black Enterprise. But there are people that we know, including Crypto J, Jamal Solomon, who saw that story years ago and was encouraged to take action in establishing and growing his business. Then we had the chance to be included on MSNBC's Your Business, which is no longer on air, but thanks to JJ Ramberg and the great team over at Your Business, because they did a feature on us. Was that back in like 2015?
Yeah.
Because they had heard about us, because they're always looking for content. They read a story about us somewhere else and was like, oh, we'd like to feature you. And in the time that I was on the set, I got to meet the booker, who happens to be a member of the same sorority that I'm in. So get to know people that are in the media, and you never know when something comes up. So that was 2015. Fast forward to 2017, she needed somebody to be on at the last minute because they had a last minute cancellation. She called and was like, can you come to the studio tomorrow to give us a 1-minute tip for a segment that we're shooting? I was like, sure. Sent car service, did my face and makeup, my makeup and hair. And after that, I went on to be on your 5 or 6 additional episodes of Your Business because I had an existing relationship with the booker. I had good rapport with the host, JJ Ramberg. And then I was available at the last minute when they had other cancellations. So I could show up, perform, give an actionable tip, and at the same time, talk about some of the things that our business was doing.
Most importantly, you did a good job. Let's start about that.
Yeah, you always got to do a good job.
I'm sure when they did research on you, they didn't see any girls going wild videos with you on Facebook or anything that would tarnish their brand if they had you on, or wouldn't give credibility to their message or what you're saying. So
yes,
I'm sure that helped.
How you conduct yourself on and off the camera matter. The things that you say on your social platforms, as well as how you perform in your business, do make a difference. So number one, do a great job of whatever your business is. Let the work speak for itself, and then tell the story. I guess I should have started with that. One of my favorite local publications is Crane's New York Business. And so they are very intent about regional and local coverage. So we've been able to participate in a couple of local events that they've had. And then we got an award from them. So we were included, and we also bought an ad when we were awarded one of the Family Businesses of the Year.
Paid media.
So that paid advertising kind of substantiated the free coverage that we were getting, or the media coverage that we were getting. And then more recently, my friend Chanel invited me to be on her Follow the Leader podcast. It was the first time I was on a podcast.
Earned media.
And so, it's just been like a trickle down effect from there. I don't know if you go to a lot of events, but what I typically see on the event invitation, in the fine print at the bottom, it says, check here if you want to be contacted by media. It'll also say, oh no, we might use your image. If you don't want us to use your image, let us know. So there are lots of hidden opportunities for you to share your story, to talk about your experience and your business. In the events that you attend, if you're applying for awards, the same thing. They have that little box at the bottom. So if you've ever seen the Inc. 5000, that's one of the questions on the application at the very bottom. Would you be interested in being featured in media coverage about your business? And that's what landed me on the Inc. Women's Conference a few years ago. And people think I did a TED Talk. No, I didn't do a TED Talk. I did an Inc. Talk for the Inc. Women's Forum. And they just continue to run the video on their website. And when people see it, they think that that was my very own TED Talk. But that's thanks to earned media from the Inc. brand. So those are just a few tips of things that you can do and how I've used those actual tips in our business to get free media coverage. If you have a client that has a much larger media budget, see if you can tap into that. Right before we began to record, I was telling the team that our bank, Webster Bank, who included us in one of their recent marketing campaign called Webster Moments, they submitted that campaign for a Telly Award and just found out that they won in the gold category a Telly Award for the feature that they did that included us. And so that included paid commercials on TV. It included features on their website and some other print features. So we get a lot of coverage. I get messages on LinkedIn all the time like, oh, I saw your commercial on CNN. I'm like, oh, that's great. Yeah. So also leverage relationships you have with clients and suppliers who are trying to tell their story and need to have a fresh face or a positive feel good piece to include because they might be willing to do that. So you see like brands like Amazon are doing that with some of their sellers, their popular sellers, Amazon, Target, all of the big box stores. They use successful small businesses and they feature them in their advertising. So see if you can make that happen for you. In closing, just keep in mind that a large social media presence is important because it's one of the last ways to conduct cost-effective marketing. Social media enables a small business to earn eyeballs and earn ears, but you can also do the same in print and broadcast media if you employ some of the tips that we've used. So check us out. Google us. Go to our website. You can see some of the positive coverage that we've gotten and that we have on our LinkedIn. And you do the same. Even if the neighborhood newspaper puts you in their publication, include it in your LinkedIn, include it in your website, and then build upon that. And that will help tell your story.